Okay, so today I'm going to introduce to you a poem written by Maya Angelou. Now, Maya Angelou, I'm sure is a familiar name to most of you. She wrote another very famous poem that is recited and has been recited at famous events called I Rise. So Maya Angelou wrote Caged Bird, and this is kind of part of, and then she went on to write an autobiography called I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. So, in a way, her autobiography was used an allusion, Allusion, to this poem. We're also going to be taking a look at another artist, Alicia Keys, who you're probably familiar with, who wrote a song, A Caged Bird. And that is also an allusion to this poem. So, but first we're going to jump into this poem. Again, it is by Maya Angelou, titled Caged Bird. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped, his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The cage bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams, his shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The cage bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for a caged bird sings of freedom. So again, this is a beautiful poem written by Maya Angelou. It's written in kind of a free verse. There's some rhyme, as you can see, um, but the last line of each stanza does not rhyme, and that is a way to kind of bring emphasis to that theme. So in the first verse, you notice how there's a comparison going between free birds and birds that are in cages, and so the free bird is, he has the wind, and he floats downstream and he has the current. And so you kind of get this image of a bird on the wind, very free, and he dipping his wing in the orange sun rays. So he's there and, he dares to claim the sky. In other words, the sky is his and the sun is his and the wind is his. And it's just all so expansive. It is all his as far as he can fly. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage, so stalking, it's kind of this lumbering, following, looking around. So he's kind of stalking back and forth. And if you've ever seen a caged bird, they often will walk back and forth around the edges of their cage. They can seldom see through his bars of rage. So that's a really interesting expression, bars of rage. So um, the bars of and again, this is personification because the bars of a bird cage are not made of rage, but yet it's giving both a human emotion to the bars, but also to the bird. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. So, in giving voice to his desires, if you will, his song is what is free, because his song carries beyond the bars of the cage. So, what he sings is what is free to go outside his captivity. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown, but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. So this is kind of the chorus of the poem, and again, it is a fearful trill. A trill is kind of a bird song. It's kind of like the sound of a bird, the chirping of a bird, of things unknown but longed for still. In other words, the cage bird has no idea what's out there beyond the cage, but he longs for it. It is unknown, but he longs for it. And again, his tune is heard in the distant hill. So the bird cannot go to the distant hill, but his tune can. And he sings of freedom. So a lot of personification here. And the point is that is she really writing about a bird? Is she really writing about a bird, or is this an extended metaphor for something else? So the free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade wind soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. So I want you to just kind of, if you reflect, if you go back to that first stanza, you'll see, yes, okay, yes, that he names, well, basically up here, where he dares to claim the sky in the very first stanza. And here he names the sky, so he owns it. He owns the sky. All right, that's very, very powerful. But the cage bird stands on the grave of dreams. All right, so all of his dreams are buried. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. So a stark contrast between the two. And again, the continuation of the extended metaphor. If you think about that, this poem is not about a bird. The cage bird sings with a tearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on a distant hill, for a caged bird sings of freedom. So, again, there's a lot of personification here, and the personification is used to the extent that it's used to kind of give human qualities to the bird, because in fact, Maya Angelou is using this extended metaphor to talk about humans that are caged, humans who do not have the freedom that other humans enjoy. So that is Caged Bird by Maya Angelou, a very rich and beautiful poem, and certainly a poem whose theme is really all about freedom. It's all about freedom. So many things to say about freedom here. But at any rate, so that's Caged Bird by Maya Angelou.